City are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero! Special beyond special.
Best player in the Premier League.
Captain Marvel. Drogba! Rooney! Oh, wonderful! That is one Derby diamond.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's match day.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Clash of Clubs. This was episode 32. I'm Dylan alongside Grant, and Mila is back from his various European cities. Mila will be dropping a video at some point with all the festivities that he did. In today's episode, we're all going to cover Arsenal being completely out of the title race as they had their schedule 1-1 draw against United. Maybe there are some signs of hope for United. Then we'll go over the top four races. It's starting to heat up. The separation between 6th and 2nd is only like 9 points. So there's going to be a lot of fluctuation from here on out. But we'll start with City as they lost to Nottingham Forest in a 6-point battle. And then we will go over to Chelsea as they beat Leicester 1-0. And to finally sum up the episode, there is an important London derby at this weekend as Chelsea take on Arsenal. I don't know if that's at home or on the road, but for Chelsea. But we'll get into it at the very end.
I'm focused on Europe right now. We got Copenhagen on Thursday, actually.
Very important match.
Second leg at home. 1-goal lead on aggregate. That's what we're focused on.
Ugh. That's how I feel about that. It's at the Emirates. Okay. Yeah. Arsenal's season has been halted and stopped and officially put to an end kind of by two pretty ballsy counter-attacking United performances, both ending in 1-1. I think that's symbolic as they are pretty much the same team with no strikers. They can't score, and overall it's not really enjoyable to watch them for most games. Do we want to touch Arsenal first and then go United?
Get them out the way.
Arsenal have been touched enough this season.
No, their center mid touches enough people as well, so it all evens out.
Allegedly.
I don't even know. They're so boring.
They are boring.
The second half was a lot better than the first half. Like, it ended up all at the end of the day being a fun game to watch. But the first half was
they were playing a depleted 14th, 15th place United team.
Lindelof was starting.
We're playing terrible.
Lindelof started.
I understand. I took Arsenal to win by 2, thinking that seeing United's lineup, I said this is enough for Arsenal to win by 2.
Raya had a blinder too.
What the hell, dude? They
Raya
can't
had
do
a very
anything.
good game.
I just think these are title contenders. Title contenders. We keep saying this. We keep bringing up the same points. When is the process over? The
Never.
process. I've heard a lot of people talk about it throughout the season. It's going to heat up more now. What is the end goal with this guy? You're just waiting to win one trophy, and that's success for him. But I think people they've touched on it. Like, is it time to get someone else? He's done enough for them. I don't know.
I think
I'm out of words for them. Yeah,
I can run a little victory lap myself, a little mini victory lap, because I kind of called it a little early. Facundo was in my ear a little bit, and kind of when I was like, it's done for me. And my whole thing with kind of being confident in Liverpool winning for a while, and you guys again slippery slope, I was totally understanding of it. My whole thing was, and I'm sure you guys felt this way to an extent too, look who's behind them. It's not City. They're not going to win 20 straight games. They're so crazy. I
think a part of us, or part of me at least, was hoping that we could make magic happen. I don't think,
for sure.
I think I prefaced it too when I was saying that Liverpool are they can slip. I did preface that it would be difficult for them to slip with a team like Arsenal behind them. Mm-hmm. So that's what you're saying.
It never felt like it was. Even when they started dropping points, I think the first 2-3 times they dropped points, Arsenal also dropped points. Or it's like, oh, it's almost a friendly reminder. No need to worry about it. Like, we can drop points 2 games in a row, maybe even 3. Just get back to winning a few, put some wins together. get a few penalties, whatever it may be. Like it's been pretty comfortable, and unfortunately, it's the same at the other end of the table. Wolves are the only team that might get. I just don't see them getting it. I don't even see Ipswich, and I don't see them getting the points to even argue and make that close. Like it's a bit disappointing. But to what you said, Dylan, the top 5 or Champions League spots, that's going to come down to the wire. I mean, every game, all of a sudden, especially we're right in the middle of it, me and Mila, every single game it seems like there's a team involved with implications. Like I'm looking at Bournemouth, Tottenham, and I'm like, oh, I need Tottenham to pick up some points here against Comp. Like the amount of teams that are right in that conversation, Brighton and Fulham played, and I'm like, oh, they're both right there. Forest, who have been comfortably there for a while now. I mean,
Newcastle scammed 3 points today.
Yeah, Potter, you'll get him next time.
Keep them in that race.
Right.
Keep it good
Newcastle,
for the Prem.
Villa, I mean, they've been pretty up and down, but obviously when they're at their best, they're a very strong side. It's going to come down to the wire. I think every team needs to be on it. But that's really where the entertainment's coming for the rest of the season. I guess we'll get into Arsenal-Chelsea later, but it's probably not going to be very entertaining for me. Yeah, I mean, we should probably go back a little bit to the game at least. I feel like, especially that second half. I mean, what are your thoughts, Dylan? Just as a United fan, was that like refreshing? How do you feel about it? Just all encompassing.
I don't really. The game itself it ended up being entertaining. The first half was really slow up until the Bruno goal. I do want to get this thought out. Arsenal, for me, I think you could make the argument. I know that my team is in this argument too, but they're probably the biggest underperformers for this year, right? Like, this is a team that's been challenging for a title with City for a while, and City fell off, which is at some point that was going to happen, right? Like, City were eventually going to fall off. That no team could be good forever. And for this team to be in the spot that they were at, which was striking distance for 2 years now, to not see any reward, is I would be disappointed as a fan. They're not getting any trophy for that matter. I know they slapped up PSV, but they're gonna go have to play a Madrid side and they're gonna lose. They're gonna lose. I would be super disappointed. I'd be all over the manager at this point. I mean, this is his team. He built this team from the ground up. He's got it to a certain level, and they've plateaued.
And he's done well to get them to where they are.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I'm sure you guys feel the same way. We don't really say it because we do enjoy bashing this club. But from where they were when he walked into where they are now, he has brought them up multiple levels. But to your point, and what Mila was saying earlier, is it going to get further from here, or was this all you've done? Thank you for your services. You're still a legend, but it's time to take this team to the next level. So that's really just the question. I don't think it's a how dare he, like, at the end of the day, whenever he does end up leaving, because again, I don't think he's there forever, you look back on it positively and what he was able to do for the team to get them back on the right track. But again, how long can you kind of plateau and just be competing but not there? Like, at what point are you fed up with it? And I kind of agree with you there, Dylan. I'd probably be there right now. It's like, that's 3 years in a row now. Like, we clearly have enough. Like, it's not that far. But what do we need to get us just that little bit further? So
I think the frustrating part has to be to what you're saying. Like, I think everyone knows what they need. We've seen what they need for the past couple of years, and that's the frustrating part. I would feel as an Arsenal fan, like if I was a fan of the club, seeing these obvious things, kind of like the Rodri replacement, where your club is not doing anything to remedy it, and it's right in front of your faces. Your common man can tell you what the fuck the problem is. That's got to be the most frustrating part. And at a certain point, that can be down to the manager. It can be down to the board. Doesn't really matter, though. They need to figure that out. If it's just right up in your face like that.
already gone. So, I mean, something's been addressed.
But they'll do all that shit to fix the backroom staff. But go fix, you know what I'm saying? Like, they are making those changes, whereas like these are obvious changes that need to be made right in front of us. And there's not even like an inkling of them trying to go do that. We said they needed a striker. We haven't heard anything or seen a bid go in for a striker. It's just been fucking midfielders, defenders. That was a last minute. Yeah, exactly. Here, fine, we did it.
Yeah, I mean,
Fuck off.
yeah, I'm trying to
I'd
think
be
of.
pissed if I was an Arsenal
I'm
fan,
trying to
and I
think of
know
what that issue
we have
is.
people on here. We know
Yeah,
other people. Like I'm starting to see some of them
I mean,
get
Shadman
fed
was on
up.
that pretty early. I
But
remember Shadman coming on
he's a
here.
Madrid fan that follows
Okay,
Arsenal's
Yeah.
scrims.
okay,
As
cool.
as a team,
But
as a
he's a
person that
Madrid fan
bleeds
who
them.
understands the standard, where it's like,
Yeah,
oh, if you
right.
want
Of
to be
course, yeah.
competing, you have to sign someone who's bagging. I'm trying to think. At Chelsea, it's probably a goalkeeper with a brain has been missing for a while.
Yeah, but you guys are in a
That one's
rebuild.
been. Yeah, their whole approach. That's probably something that
They claim
that's
they
not
found their man. They had all the right
legit.
pieces and everything, and
Right.
now there's just one little thing that they need to fix. Apparently, every time that they don't address it ever.
Yeah, look, this squad is too good to be competing at a we'll just go at it again next season, because eventually that goes away. And we've talked about it for a couple of weeks, but like Saliba's leaving,
If
he's going
Saliba's
to
gone,
Madrid.
what are they doing? Like,
I don't know,
what's
but
the
like
plan? There's
there
not many
isn't a
center
plan.
backs to
That's the
bring
issue.
He's supposed to be
into
gone this
top
summer?
football now. Right now,
Like
what?
they
You're
just
saying
Yes,
inevitably he's gone.
no, this summer
Yeah,
is what they're
yeah.
looking for.
Inevitably a
Madrid
player
need
of
a
that
center back.
caliber.
They have identified Saliba. Usually, how things go is Madrid get what they want.
Dude, Rudiger
Madrid will spend the money.
Saliba pairing. Oh.
Look, high quality players have a tendency to leave Arsenal. They leave the Prem. They go to Spain. Look, Ronaldo left, right? Like if Ronaldo was able to leave, anyone can. Like that's the thing is Madrid come calling and they'll leave. You know what I mean? Same with Barca. Like these are high tier clubs that in the society of football mean a lot to people. And for a player like Saliba to have the opportunity to go there in Spain and play in Madrid, play the Bernabeu,
With his
and
French
Mila was there,
Look at
it
all
will
those French
happen.
dudes there.
It will
All
happen.
points.
And then what's going to happen? You think I don't know. You think Saka is going to be content competing for second just because he loves the club? That's not modern football anymore. It's just not. Players leave, and clubs treat their players poorly because they treat them like assets. So eventually, there will become a time where there's a rift. Look, losing it at this rate to them, like if they don't come out with a trophy, I think it's just time to try something different. I think there's another manager that could take them to a different level. If I'm being completely honest with you, the quality in this side is way too high, and it has
They
way too
don't.
much money into it. Like I know they need a striker, and I think they will get a striker this summer. I don't know what the level of that striker will be, but I still think that if you got in a very, very poor striker, put him in this system, gave him a new manager that maybe just tailored to their strengths, they'd be a different side, and they could actually compete.
Are you saying they should sign Patrick Schick?
I'm saying they should sign any striker that actually plays striker.
Throw him up.
Yeah, we've ranted about Arsenal for 12 minutes. I feel like that's probably the last time that we'll actually talk about them at that depth because I don't want to talk about them anymore. To Mila's famous saying.
Yeah, we'll preview the game they've got later, but
but like I don't want to talk about them as from an overall standpoint anymore. I'll just talk about them on the field.
It's pretty much where we all stand. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll switch focus to the United side of things. Yeah, the game was really boring, and then at the 45th minute, the most quality United player scored a quality free kick at 11.2 yards, I believe it is, which is super important.
Fucking unbelievable, dude.
I can't. What a disgrace to the game, right? That the ref put the wall, a couple feet back, and if I was an Arsenal fan, I'd feel really hard done by that.
I'm a neutral when I was watching this game. I knew he was gonna hit that free kick. Did you have that running through your mind?
Oh yeah, it was. Well, dude, did you see where
Raya? Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say. You see where Raya was fucking setting up?
He had a very good game. Made a few really good saves. That was very puzzling, though.
Why? Why are you that far away?
A ball striker of that quality, like you.
Yeah, Bruno just had to put it on frame.
You're asking him to do. Oh, I could hit that. Like a decent enough pace. It wasn't in the corner, and not to take anything away from it, it's a good hit. And seeing where the keeper is, he's like, "Oh, fair enough. I don't need to put this in the top corner."
Raya would have had to make an amazing save to keep it out.
And we all knew as soon as the whistle was blown, it's like, oh, this is going to be like one of United's best chances this game. Like as soon as they won that free kick, it was like, oh, this is a good chance. Like to just kind of, I feel like saying giving him that goal is like almost not fair to the goal, but like you're asking for it.
You are asking for it.
Rice had a really good goal, to be fair, too. Very well struck. That was clean.
I will talk on this. I think it felt like United were letting Rice be in positions. Now, Eriksson should have been subbed off earlier, and I don't think he scores that goal. It was a really well taken goal, and I'm not going to take anything from him.
very
United
nice
were
hit.
purposefully setting up this game to have the ball land at him in dangerous positions
I believe
because
it.
they didn't do anything. Honestly, the ball fell to him and Odegaard a bunch of times, and they did nothing with it.
I believe it. I mean, when we played Liverpool at Anfield earlier this year, Slot said in their approach, like Gusto was in that 10 spot, and Slot literally said, yeah, we just wanted him to get the ball there, not Palmer.
Yeah, like, we'll live with
the
that.
idea. It's like, we'll live with Rice there.
Yeah, and
like, so yeah, I mean, possibly, but it was a nice hit. Like I just had to.
It was a great.
No,
hit.
it was a
really,
great hit. It's a fantastic goal. He also celebrated like he had won the game, and then they went off to do nothing for the rest of the game.
You know how Madison just like fits right in at Spurs? Rice fits right in at Arsenal.
Yeah, he really does.
I mean, Caicedo fits right in at Chelsea. It's just getting it done, proper player.
I was concerned.
Go back to United.
I was concerned when Bruno scored right before halftime that the record was going to be kaput.
Oh, yeah, I sent it to the chat.
They really didn't play well up until that point. But to United's credit, and the funniest part is like whenever United fans have been happy this year, it's been against Arsenal. They just get up for these games. There's a little more energy, there's a little more spark about them.
I agree. Yeah,
it's just a level like, and United fans, I think at this point know where we're at, right? Like the level is where it's at. We're not gonna be this great attacking team. We're not gonna put in these amazing performances, but I want to see a level of effort that's right there, right? Like. You might lose 2-1 in this game, but I think United fans would have been all right with it. You know what I mean? Like, there's just a certain level of get up for the match, play your hardest, show up, perform. They performed well. I thought this was honestly one of their better games. I'm hoping that this is kind of what it looks like moving forward, but without Casemiro and Eriksson in the team. Right?
Yeah,
like,
it's hard to say.
Yeah, you need to replace them, but I do think you guys played through the Arsenal midfield on multiple occasions in that game and made them look like fucking bottom of the league. That can't be happening.
No.
Yeah, I think
Bruno Fernandes has been on
it's
a whole otherworldly level.
I know.
Over the last, I want to even say 15 games. I genuinely believe he's been the best midfielder in the Premier League over the last 15 games. He just plays for the worst team in the Premier League. Like that's I
think it's fair at this point. I was hard on him. After seeing it in person,
and he's still
seeing what he does for you guys in person, how much he's running is ridiculous. If the guy wants to have his head down a little bit, I think he's
more than welcome to, right?
Like, at this point, yeah.
It's so funny seeing the game at that level where you're like, oh shit, he actually hasn't stopped running in the last 15 minutes, and then they're asking for him to get back on the 90th after he just sprinted the full length.
Yeah.
Not to mention, people are calling him a rat, like 24/7
in
the stadium.
Yeah. Nah, I think United definitely get up for these bigger games, but they're also able. I think it benefits them more given where they're at. And Amarim said it like, yeah, we're playing a low block, we're countering. That's not how we want to play long term, but look at what we have. This is how we got to. This is how we have to.
I think the fact that they get up for these games and not the rest of the league is even more so a reason to get rid of these guys.
Well, these other teams,
they have the level. They have the fucking level to perform like this. We've seen it on multiple occasions this year. And they're in fucking 15th.
Well, I mean, you have to look
that's
at
a mentality thing.
They're playing.
It's a mentality thing half
Some
the
of
time
it's got to
too,
be
though.
upstairs.
Yeah.
I think a lot of these players aren't good, but you also, from a tactical point of view, you can't really counterattack against Leicester. Right? Like
no, you can't. But there's talent in this team.
Even
if they're counterattacking on paper,
you're gonna have to come out of your shell, and they don't have the quality given what they have.
They do have quality in that team. Though. On paper, this team is not a bad team. That's the frustrating part. I think.
Garnacho front three.
Xerxes looked phenomenal in that game.
I like Xerxes.
I don't like Xerxes, but he played fucking great in that game.
I have opinions.
Garnacho also has been improving, I think, in this team.
Oh, for sure.
Past couple, 3-4 weeks.
Old. It's going to take time with the kid.
Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't click, but it looks like it's starting to click a little bit. He's starting to make something happen. But with Xerxes, that was the best performance I've seen from him in a United shirt.
There's a player.
He actually, we talked about it. I guess it was over text where we were saying that he looks like a center that shoots threes.
Yeah.
Now he looks like a fucking guy that's going to go down low, get stuck in, hold up the ball, and then the occasional flick. He almost had a goal in that game.
Yeah,
he did.
Raya
I
had
know
they
some people
created
were
a
upset
chance,
with
like,
the way that he
Should have
flicked it
won.
like that. He had no
it
no
took a
other choice there.
deflection. It took a
Yeah, he had
deflection. He
no
just
other
ran
choice
onto
but to
it.
flick it there. I thought if that goes in, he looks like a fucking god.
I don't know what else he's supposed to
And
do.
the fact that he almost got it off is good enough.
Good effort.
There's clear improvement on his part, and I think Højlund played a little better than he normally does when he came on. It seems with these guys is they need to push each other. When one of them plays bad, the other doesn't feel the need to raise that level. But when one of them plays well, the other one definitely wants to prove that they can also play at that level. This is what I think. It's not really a skill level with them. It's all mental at this point because we've seen them perform.
What about Højlund? I think he stinks.
I'm not a fan of him, and I think
it's a skill issue with a lot of the players still.
I think with him, but he can play better. That's what I'm saying. Like, he saw C.O.C fucking balling, and he was like, "Oh shit!"
But C.O.C has technical ability. You know,
I think the game opened up for Højlund to be a better striker, and that's just where he's at in terms of his level. Is like he's gonna have to bomb channels when other guys are tired. He's got physical traits that can make him a good striker. His fall from this is some of the biggest regression I've seen in a player in a long time. Because all of United fans were excited about what he could be in the prospect of the season. Even when Amorim came in, the regression in his form is like it's both mental and actual play style. Like he's just not as good of a player as he was a year ago or 2 years ago. It has nothing to do with the system,
I agree.
And it has nothing to do with like honestly the tactics. Like he's been in positions. I mean, he got into a position to score and he didn't even take a shot.
Yeah, that was bad.
And even on that last attempt where Raya makes a good save, Collier was in a better position to try and get the second ball than Højlund. And he's our striker.
He looks like a solid player, by the way. I know
he is.
Collier, I've liked it. Since his freaking debut in the beginning of the season.
Because obviously he's been hurt, he's been missing time, but I think I saw the quotes, and we didn't even mention his name yet. Heaven, I thought he looked like...
Aiden Heaven.
He looked like a player.
Baller.
Yeah, I mean...
No, he looks like a baller.
And like not everything came off, but you could tell he was confident in all of his actions. He wasn't hesitating about anything, and especially as a young defender coming on against your former team that you come up with. Like,
I think he had a phenomenal performance, and I think that's definitely that was one of the highlights for.
Well, you heard Amorim's quotes too. Where he's like, he's a real player. Amorim just pretty much like hates all those guys there that are just bad. And when he sees a player that's like decent, this guy's the best. Like he's so happy.
I think he's just happy too that this is a young kid that has no fear. He's going to go, like you're saying, he's going to go play against his old team. He's going to fucking. He didn't show any ounce of fear in that performance. Even when he did make a mistake, he came back. He was getting up there to go try to score the winning goal for them. Like he did not give a fuck, and that's kind of what you want to see right now. I think is this young guy take the fucking chance by the balls and try to make a name for himself, especially in this locker room.
United, I think, to kind of sum up how I feel about it, obviously it's a mess right now, all things considered, but I'm starting to see, from my perspective, like flashes, glimmers of where like, you can absolutely see this working. It's going to take a lot on the business end, the stuff that we don't know too much about. They're going to have to raise some money. The Sir Jim Ratcliffe was doing a bunch of interviews today and letting everybody know. It's a bad situation on that side of things. If they're able to get Amorim some players that can work in the system that he's identified or whoever they've put in charge identified, if they get players for this system, I think they might have something for sure. It doesn't mean it's going to be a quick process. It's going to definitely take some time. I don't know how long it's going to take them to get the right players for this, but there's something to be happy about. I've always kind of preached on it. Like, you got to just take what you can in this type of season, and I think all things considered, like, it's been awful if you're a United fan, but it's not hopeless. There's an idea, there's a direction. It just depends on if you're going to be able to get there.
I just think he needs to trust the youth at this point.
Yeah.
Especially where you guys are at the table, and like I think we talked about it already, but I think there's not really much more you can drop this season. And there's not much more you can raise this season. So just, if he really doesn't like these guys that he plans on getting rid of, don't be giving them all the minutes in the world. Give these young guys, like, he's kind of been easing them in. But, like, Cheeto Obi needs to play a little more if the strikers are not up to par with what he wants. Because they're seeing glimpses from him. But if Xerxes is going to play like that, then he's warranted to keep him off for now. But I think in general, trusting those young guys, you guys clearly have talent in the reserves, but he's got to give them a little more chances. And I think he's starting to, but I would
He's
like to
doing
see
it the
more.
right way. You can't just give them the full 90s, like
Well,
you're
of
saying.
course.
Kind of easing them in, getting them an appearance here and there, and it's going to take some balls for sure. I mean, again, like we just said with Heaven's second appearance, he said.
Well, that's the thing. It takes an appearance like that where at least you're like, okay, you're kind of you've cemented
You've got
yourself
something
in this
back.
side. Yes,
Yeah.
he probably could start one of the next couple games. I don't know if he
Dylan,
will.
would you
but
rather have him start or Lindelof?
Lindelof played a good game. I can't even
Lindelof
be mad at
played
Lindelof.
I saw Lindelof moving forward sometimes
The
too.
idea of Lindelof, a guy who's
the-
not going to be there at the end of the season, expiring contract, not meant to play.
I have a feeling that here's the thing: if Dorgu isn't suspended, neither of them are starting.
Right.
Because Mazraoui is playing in the right center back and Yoro is playing left center back. But Yoro has a nick. I think that those two are going to interchange on that left center back for the rest of the year. I'm totally with Mila. I think the youth, you got to give them chances, and I think at this point, it's all just good experience. At the end of the day, I think Cheeto had a really good appearance in the game that Mila was at against Fulham, and while he didn't put away his chances like he created them,
he got him to get some
he was
good
in
chances.
good spots.
They
right?
weren't howlers that he missed,
No.
but he definitely should have put like at least one of them on target.
Yeah, the thing is like when he was missing the chances, I was like, oh, he's 17. Like I'm not expecting a 17-year-old to come in and light the world on fire. Not everybody is Marcus Rashford, right? Like he's a young prospect that wasn't supposed to be in the situation that is going to get minutes, and I think at this point it's just protecting the players. There's a certain level of brain trust between Amarim and the higher ups at this point that they are really just going to put all their faith in his philosophies and his style, and that's where I'm at.
Fuck, you got nothing better.
Yeah, my overarching thoughts on United are in times of despair and devastation, the cream rises to the top, right? Your Brunos, your Mazarauris, your Delicts, and your Xerxes have been all really, really good in these times of kind of chaos. Xerxes is not a striker. He's just a 10. He's just a 10. But he's put in good shifts, and he's genuinely, there's a mentality and there's a level of effort that I come to expect. And he does what he's good at. He doesn't try to be a different player. Even and that's why I don't think he's a part of Amarim's long-term plans. I just don't really see him as an Amarim player. I thought he was a Ten Hag player that didn't pan out. But
he's clearly got ability for sure.
Oh, he's talented. He's absolutely talented.
It's the physicality. Like he went from Serie A to probably one of the most physically demanding leagues. He wasn't used to it, ready for it, but you can tell he's starting to get his game off a little more. He
definitely is. The hold-up play last game was a very nice thing to see from Xerxes.
No, he's got that in his locker. And the thing is, he's starting to strive in that specific area. Now, would I want him to put away a couple chances here or there like he did against Europa?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm kind of expecting it at this point because somebody needs to score goals outside of Bruno. There was a tactical change that he did over the last two games that I did want to touch because it's been super important to United creating chances and being a little more front-footed, which is he's put pretty much his hand-tied Garnacho on the right with Mazraoui, and it's brought out the best out of both players. Mazraoui at that right wing-back spot and in the right central back spot hasn't been great. It hasn't been perfect. He's been giving good effort, and he's a quality player, so something's good. But ever since going with Garnacho on the right, it's opened up Bruno to play more on the left side, and it's opened up Garnacho's channel running. And so Mazraoui is able to tuck in. The only issue is they keep playing Diego Dalot, and I have I could go on a 20-minute rant, and I'll probably go on it next week about Diego Dalot. He's an awful, awful footballer in the system. I don't think he's a terrible player in any other system because he was our player of the year last year, but in this system, he physically cannot do it. He's unable to do it.
I turned on the game, and I watched Dalot put in a tackle. I went, oh, good tackle, and then he takes one touch and dribbles out of bounds.
Right out of bounds.
I think that's the perfect way of describing him right now. Is like there's definitely something there, but there's something not clicking when it comes to the way he plays.
And to that Mazraoui point, I definitely noticed that, Dylan. He was definitely tucked in a lot more. Garnacho's out wide.
He almost scored a goal.
We made fun of it, but Ten Hag did put him in the 10 for a reason in terms of how he's able to play in between the lines. Like he has the ability to do that. And Garnacho is much more suited to be on the touchline than he is in that half space. So to all the people kind of crying for Amarim to do something to change it, like, he's going to stick to his principles, but when given the opportunity, he will adjust things to compensate for what he's able to work with right now. So yeah, that's another positive to take.
Yeah, I'll touch on the Ratcliffe stuff real quick and make it really short, like a 30 seconds to a minute thing, just so that we can stop talking about these two teams because we've been on it for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
This was a statement of honesty from an owner that hasn't been there in a long time. I'm super okay with it. I'm totally fine with it. I don't think this is scapegoating anybody. I think he's just telling United fans exactly how it is. He opened the hood to this fucking disaster that the Glazers have put the club in, and he's put it very simple. We're paying people that don't deserve to be getting paid money, way too much money, and we have no money because of these reasons. And regardless of if it's players coming in and out, which is the only way to make the team better, I have to get this right from the business side of things to then get the best out of the footballing side of things. And he said that he trusts the manager, and I trust the manager too. Look, there's a certain honesty level with Ratcliffe that I'm getting to notice. He said Amarim got into a meeting with him and pretty much told him to fuck off. And that's exactly what I want to hear, is that these guys are super brutally honest with each other. They don't care what, about that stuff other than just, let's get this done. Let's get this team back on track. Let's get this club back on track. And we'll just have to wait and see if that actually works out. But
I thought everything he said was fantastic, and like you're saying, it's as long as they stand true to everything that they've said, you guys should have some improvement. Yeah, I think you nailed it on the head, though.
We talked about it in our little event last week, but he's a businessman walking into a comically failing business. And obviously he didn't even open the hood up when we were talking about it last week, but we were going to run out of money. Like, that's awful. Like, how could you run a business like that into the ground? Like,
Manchester United.
Yeah.
Right, you have a lot of redundancies. Clearly there has to be some redundancies, some bad business practices to be almost burning money like that. Obviously some of it's on the football side, no doubt. That's public facing, we see that. For any of you who've worked a minimum wage job in high school at a place, a restaurant that maybe you go to, or a store you would shop at, this place is cool. If you worked there, you would have had no clue what's going on back there. There's some crazy shit everywhere. There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that just isn't run properly at almost every organization. So he's, like you said, being honest, saying, hey, like, you know how you guys were complaining about these Glazers the past 20 years? You were right. It was about to run into the ground, so they jumped ship and sold it, got their money, and got out. Now I'm going to try and help them take care of this. It's a harsh reality. He's making some tough cuts.
Yeah.
Again, it's tough on the human side of things. It's not great. It's not a good look. All that. It is a failing business, and he's trying to save it from sinking.
Look, people were really disappointed with the layoffs, and they were saying, well, this isn't what a club like United does. He literally said that there's a guy making $160,000 as a body language specialist.
Yeah, and it's clearly not working.
Yeah, whatever. United are the biggest team in England from a global perspective. They should be the best brand in England, and they should be the best business in England. That's how that stuff should work. You look at all the other sports, or you look at even other leagues. Real Madrid are the biggest team in Spain. They're the best run business, right? I don't know. They're just
the last thing I want to say about this is that I think it was nice that you could tell he's coming from a place of love. He's clearly a fan of your guys' team. Exactly. And I think that's what makes this statement a whole lot more impactful, is that he's coming from a place of this hurts me too, and I took on this project because I can't stand to see this like this anymore. And like you said, he's a businessman, and a lot of organizations in this sport, that's not really what you want, and it can destroy your club. But this guy has an affinity to the club on top of that knowledge of business. So I think he's going to do all the right things. Like you said, he's doing the layoffs. I talked to some people in Manchester, some Reds in Manchester. They don't care. They want their club back. Nobody cares if they get free meals or anything. So yeah, social media might make a big fucking deal about it. The people that actually care about the club and want to see success again do not give a flying fuck. So I think you guys are in a great place. Not obviously in the scope of the season,
not standing
but,
with us, no.
Yeah, but in the
right
place
thing.
of where you're going in the right direction, and it's not just buying the players anymore. It's actually bare bones. We're going to try to break it down from the bottom and rebuild it. Rather than just saying, hey, we're united, we're the best. Because I think that's what the issue was for a while. And also, he compared you guys to other teams in the Prem when in his interviews today. He said, we want to be like City, we want to be like Liverpool. And I think that takes a lot because with a lot of United people, I think they have a little bit of... I don't want to say... Arrogance is the better word, yeah. Whereas, like, they've experienced the top of the top and they know where they could be at. They think that their club should just stay at that level. They don't want to accept that it's dropped a bit. Ratcliffe has said to you guys' face, we have dropped. We need to get back to our rivals. We need to be like our rivals to then get back to the United that we were. And I think that's the best for you guys. That's the type of owner that you guys want and someone that is good to have as a leader in the back of things.
Yeah. The summary of everything is one step in the right direction. Now, will they follow that up with multiple steps in the right direction? Only time will tell. Okay, 35 minutes on Arsenal and United. What the fuck? Good for us. Good for us. We
needed to take care of business.
Yeah, we said it a couple episodes that we weren't going to talk about United very much, and then the last two have been really heavy.
We like to lie.
Yeah, we do like to lie. Short episodes, and we're not going to talk about United very much. Have not been a very good statement for anybody that's listened and been like, oh yeah, I wonder if they're going to have shorter episodes and not talk about United. Cool. Let's flip it over to the other Manchester team. I didn't watch it. I'm not going to speak much on it. All I know is that it's an important 6 points for Nottingham Forest, and that's fucking an incredible story. Absolutely incredible story.
Yeah. I think fair play to them. They've been a really good team this year. We didn't do anything to take the game to them. I think it's the same old shit that I've been saying, though. Older guys are not performing. Too much is being asked of our younger players, Nico and Kusanov. Nico's by himself out there still, trying to emulate what Rodri does, just not
who was next
at that
to him?
level.
I'm looking at the setup. Nunez.
Bernardo, bro. No, Nunez was right back.
In?
Yeah,
Nunez. So Nunez pushed up.
I guess Nunez would invert a little bit, but
okay.
Bernardo in the squad is a non-factor right now, and I don't see what he's offering. I've seen people that are Bernardo stans that are starting to question what he offers this team. So I think it's gotten to the point where he cannot be in the team anymore. That being said, he is Pep's favorite player, and he will pay him until he is dead. So that's the frustrating part. What were you going to say, Dill?
Why is Marmoush not starting these games?
Marmoush for this one, I have no clue. My guess was that we had a very early game, so with the fasting maybe, but like I don't know.
He still played. He just didn't start. I mean,
it was a noon game though. Is the thing.
Oh, okay.
Or noon.
Right. It was
so 4:30. Like 4:30 a.m. at our time. Like I can see in that sense why he wouldn't start. He definitely should have played more when he did come on. There's clips of him begging for the ball from Bernardo though. It's a constant issue where this guy is taking too many touches on the ball. He doesn't want to do anything risky. And everything that we wanted out of him is gone, except for that he runs a lot now. And we don't need a guy that just runs a lot. We need specific runs.
Could have signed Conor Gallagher if you wanted that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just not enough. It feels like, and Pep's been kind of, it's been hinted at all year, but there's just not enough goals. Like, Foden hasn't been on it.
Well, we don't have creative
isn't a goal
players.
threat. Doku's not a goal threat. These guys set up other players to score goals, and they've been very good at that in certain instances, but they've been very inconsistent. It's like one game, Doku looks like the best player I've ever seen.
The
next game, it's like
ready for that game.
Yeah.
Ole Aina, he got cooked in the last fixture, and he went, all right, I'm going to lock in. And I watched Doku try to dribble him on multiple occasions, and he shut him down, completely shut him down. And then it clearly got to him at a certain point. When things don't work for Doku, it's not like he's going to try something new. It's not. That's the difference between him and Savio.
Yeah.
Exactly. And Ole Aina had it on lock. He knew exactly what he was going to do. Even the passes, he was reading every fucking Doku pass. I thought that was just a very good display.
Yeah, he took a lot of pride in that matchup.
Yeah.
For
and
sure.
he balled out.
It's a difficult matchup, regardless of what you think of Doku as a player. him 1v1, of course, that's a tough matchup. That's a tough ask. But I think, a lot of credit to Forest. They come at these games with a very specific approach, and they just perform so well. They know exactly what they're doing as a unit. They're just all on the same page, and the goal kind of just felt like it was deserved. It was like, not surprising at all.
They could have had more. If Kusanov wasn't on the pitch, they'd probably wipe us away. He looks like our best player right now, and that's disturbing.
Yeah, Kusanov, and again, we've already talked about him enough. We're like way past that first game. He's a quality player. He's only getting better.
The only issue with him right now is that the pundits don't seem to see what everyone else in the fucking world sees.
You just mentioned it earlier regarding United. Like, what's being talked about versus the reality can be very different. So I think to Kusanov,
how is he any different than when Mickey Van de Ven stepped on the scene? I genuinely don't understand the difference.
Kusanov?
He's so rapid. He's great on the ball. He's a warrior. There's zero difference between him and Mickey Van de Ven. I think they're on the same level. The system's just different. It doesn't highlight him
a
as
little
well.
more, and I'd like to also see him in a settled team. But he's definitely young and quality.
1 tackle, 2 blocks, 5 clearances, 2 interceptions.
Did you see one of those tackles? Did you see with the block though? The block was he came from fucking 5 yards away. Like he's the heart of our defense right now. I think is the main thing.
Yeah.
Whereas Ruben Diaz used to be that heart. I guess but Van de Ven.
He's evolved.
No, he's done it over longer. But in terms of the initial shock reaction, it's because he had one mistake in a big game against probably the best team in the world. One of them, at least. What? Right? Didn't he have
Chelsea? He didn't. He's only had a mistake against Chelsea. Honestly.
Shit! I was at Universal. I thought it was Real.
You called us the best team.
No, he played again. He played right back against.
Sorry, it looked good.
He played well. Sorry. He fucking played great.
It was in the same week. That's why I'm getting confused. Okay, sorry, but still.
But he's done everything that is possibly asked of. He's bounced back from that.
Next to him right now.
Exactly.
And one center midfielder.
He's definitely that's the issue though. He's the only bright spot of any of our games the past 4 or 5 games, and it cannot be happening. He's a baby.
He is a baby.
We have fucking elite players that have been playing for a long time on this team and that are not doing their fucking job. Where we have these young guys coming in, dominating, and not even getting the minutes that they should be getting.
Yeah,
Nico O'Reilly had a brace in the FA Cup and he didn't even sniff the field against
Kovacic gets 30 minutes.
Yes, Kovacic gets those minutes. I know Nico fucking O'Reilly can misplace the pass a couple times. He's young. It's okay. Everything he does off the ball, his height, his physicality, and when he does go forward, I think he should be warranted at least some minutes in the midfield instead of putting Kova's dead legs in there. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I'm just tired of seeing the same old fucking subs from Pep. And I think he's just going to do this until the season goes, until we get rid of these guys, and then we can bring in Kamavingas, Wirtz's, fullbacks, whatever.
If we get all these, I will be. You can't just name drop those guys like that, bro.
It's what they're gonna do, dog.
No.
Kamavinga's heating up.
Emphasize, those are 2 100 million pound players. If they can just go in and get that, bro, that's so tough.
I mean, we can. We're gonna go get rid of 200 million pounds right there. So it's
De Bruyne, it's gonna be. He's on high wages; those are gone.
De Bruyne's wages are gonna, even if he stays, they're going down.
Yeah,
regardless of what happens with De Bruyne, his salary's being cut in some way, shape, or form.
You got more money to spend.
Grealish is out. It looks like one of the center backs on high wages is out. We got Deadwood in fucking Nunes and other players Calvin Phillips, that are going to be out. So we're going to have a lot of money to spend. And then people are not going to like it. But we know what we have to do. And this is what we've been talking about with Arsenal is these are gaping holes in our team. Everyone can fucking see them. We're just going to bite the bullet and go get it done.
You got to make tough decisions.
To Facundo's point, maybe Arsenal don't have the luxury to do that.
Yeah,
not my fucking problem.
Hey, at least you guys get to add the best center defensive mid on planet Earth for free.
Bro, he's gonna be back to the Club World Cup.
Freak of nature, bro.
Okay, and that's also crazy.
He's fucking with my brain with the Galaxy shit because I'm thinking Puig is gonna come back and save our season.
Wrong show, mate.
I just doesn't matter. It's all interconnected.
Well, he shouldn't. I don't know. If I was a City player, this is a weird side thing to go off of, but I wouldn't want him playing in the Club World Cup.
He looks.
I know he looks.
Everything.
Right.
No. I know. Most of the time, yes, I agree with you, but it feels very much like a Zlatan thing where this man has recovered freakishly fast and is just waiting to get back on the pitch, and I don't know if anyone's going to stop him. If Club World Cup's like Club World Cup, like it's
No, and it's low stakes at the end of the day. Like he gets match sharpness. It's just I just the idea of him playing in the U.S. just sounds like a bad idea
I
to
don't
me.
know, man.
I don't know.
I know. You have to
And
think
then
about
the
it too.
US
This guy
guys,
just won a Ballon d'Or, and then he
no,
tore his ACL.
he's itching to come back.
right after. So
He's
it's like
itching to come back. The
he
$1
just
billion
and a
of
lot of
prize money is
people.
probably important.
Yeah, that and the fact that people don't really. A lot of people aren't crediting him for his Ballon d'Or. They don't want to accept that he won that. I'm sure that's fucking got to be annoying. Like you just fucking went and earned that shit, and you can't even back it up because you got hurt a couple games afterwards. I think he just really wants to get back on the pitch. It looks like he's mentally there. It looks like he's putting in a fucking 150% effort into getting his recovery correct. So, like you're saying, it is risky, but if he feels ready, if the doctors say he's ready, who are we to say as fans that, he shouldn't be doing this?
Yeah. No, fair. I do
I
want to
have
touch
nothing
Nottingham
else. Yeah, I mean, we
because
definitely should, but
I mean, just at the nature of us having to talk about Chelsea and United and City every single podcast, and then you obviously touch Liverpool and Arsenal just because they've been in the title race the whole time. Teams and stories like Nottingham Forest have totally gone under the radar from this podcast, and they do deserve their flowers. I mean, this is an incredible turnaround from a team that was, relegation fodder, and everyone was like, "What the fuck are they doing?" To
I
be
put him
in
in the
third, I mean, it's just an incredible story with a bunch of really good, like career-changing arcs, like Chris Wood and Alenga and Hudson Odoi and Gibbs White's not really
Aina
in that mold,
too.
but
Ola
Aina,
Aina.
and then you've got two of these just freakish
Matt
center backs.
Sells. Yeah, Matt
They
Sells.
will get torn apart in the summer because that's the nature of their style of business. I just think that they're going to end up losing a lot of these guys, and those guys are going to want bigger teams in Nottingham. But it's an amazing story for the time being, and
If you get Champions League,
yes,
you can,
they got Champions League though. It's
you'll
looking
lose
like they're
some
gonna
guys,
have Champions
but you're
League,
going to be able to hang on to a lot of guys. But
and you're gonna be able to pick up guys. People want to play Champions League.
They were playing for a team with knowing the chance that they might get relegated, and a year later, it's like, hey, you're going to be in the Champions League. So a lot of these players, mind you, yes, Ola Aina's contract's expiring. I do see him moving on, just as an example. I don't really see anyone going in for Chris Wood. Right? He's getting on the older side. Callum Hudson-Odoi's got injury history. Doesn't have that much.
I just also think that they might not want some of these players in the team next year when they're competing for going into the Champions League. They need to upgrade some of these positions.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's going to be on the market just as a random name, but he went on loan. He's going to go back to his parent club. He's probably going to want to play Champions League. He might end up there. So I think they'll definitely lose some guys, but making Champions League, you'll be able to definitely have some motion.
I don't know. This feels. I mean, we've seen it in recent memory, so it just keeps coming to mind. This is a Newcastle. This is an Aston Villa. They will have to sell their best players because of financial fair play reasons. They will get guys back in, but it's going to be an uphill battle for
It'll be tough.
Champions League football for these clubs that haven't been there in forever is a very difficult task to get back into. It just it's the nature of the beast. It's an amazing story. And
I know. And they have history in this tournament, though. Absolutely. It's not just some random club that are just coming into the Champions League. Like, there's history behind these clubs. Yeah. And I think to the Villa point, I just saw a quote from McGinn talking about how it seems like he's kicked out 50 people in the past, year, and he's added another 50. People want to come to Villa. He's got names like Rashford, Asensio, Daniel Malen. These guys are wanting to come to Villa. Sure. They want to come to Villa now. And I think the tide's changing a little bit in that sense. These teams are competing. It's not just the top 6, top 5 in the Premier League anymore. There are teams coming from in and out. These are going to be people that want to play Champions League football that aren't going to be able to get in those spots because they're playing for teams that normally make it that are not making it.
Evan Nielsen was a Brazilian international with Porto, and he went to Bournemouth, who didn't qualify for any Europe. So
but he wasn't
Prem alone. My point being, just the Prem alone is enough of a floor. So a lot of players overseas, when their agent says, "Oh, I got us a move to English Champions League club," they're not worried about what team it is. They're just like, "Oh, perfect, English Champions League bank."
They get to play on the big stage.
Right,
yeah.
that's all.
Okay,
And some
I
of
guess
these players might not even be able to get that opportunity unless it's a Forest in the Champions League that they're moving to that team. Some of these players aren't good enough to play for our clubs.
yeah,
And they
I
are
don't know.
like they can go do that either a stepping stone move to Nottingham, or they go and find success there and they stay there. But I do
We'll
think
find
it's
out during summer though.
Yeah,
Of course,
I
yeah.
guess Nottingham has been one of the more teams to be more active in going to
They've been
different
active.
countries to then get these players. So there's like I guess it's a
they're
different
not
mold.
afraid to
But
spend either.
who came to Newcastle after they made Champions League?
Newcastle,
Isak
freaking,
Party,
they
had no money
had
to spend.
issues. They had a
How-
Tonali out for a year.
Forest also
One of
had
their
a
major
deduction.
players.
Forest had a deduction.
Yeah,
And-
Forest are a bunch of cheaters.
But to the same point, in the summer, who came to Aston Villa?
In the summer, that
Who
was
came?
poor on their part. I
They
thought
didn't have
care
they
about
didn't have money. That was
Yeah,
the
he's
issue.
not
They
wrong.
didn't
Yeah,
they didn't have
but
money, so they
Yeah,
only
but
they had to
you-
get rid
wait,
of
we know
Douglas
why.
Luiz.
We
They
know
brought
why.
in the issue is these teams, and this is the only reason that it might be different, is they tend to keep the talent within the Prem. And they go after talent in the Prem because they're still like in their essence, they're still aiming for the same kind of like, oh, we'll just pick apart the teams that are near us. And so like Aston Villa, they went and got Onana from Everton. While he's been hurt, and I can't really
It was a
speak
great
on him.
pickup.
He
at
was
the
good
park.
when
Wait,
he was
no. It's a great pickup, but I think that's in terms of the style of player that they will
I
get.
know.
Is that
I see what you're saying though, but I think with their issue, they made some business mistakes in trying to go heavily in the rebuild of their defense, and now they're already offloading players like a Diego Carlos, who was supposed to be one of the staples in that midfield. We have Ming starting again for them. Like they went to improve these positions,
Well, I
failed.
think Pau Torres probably starts if he's fit. To be fair.
I know, but
so? I guess
it's
that
it's
proves
between
the point some.
Konsa, Pau Torres, and
Also,
Mings.
to
Like those
Dylan's
are their
point,
players
with
now.
the way business was operated, they brought in Matson for 35, and we bought one of their youth players who's never made a senior appearance. We paid 20 million for him, and that's so they could balance their book. So, like to Dylan's point, these teams that are getting there, they have financial issues, so that's a
course.
big hurdle. I think to Mila's point, I'm more feeling that in terms of they'll definitely have the pull. They'll be able to attract.
I'm not worried
players.
about the
It's if they
financial
can get
issues
that
either.
business done. I don't know enough about it, but
I
that's
think-
the question for me.
Okay,
I think they'll
with
have
the-
the pull.
Sorry.
Two-time European champs.
With the
That's
financial
awful.
state, I think there's going to be a lot changing in the coming years with
I
the
hope so.
associated party transactions bullshit that City's been a part of and trying to amend those rules. A lot
Because
of
you're
teams are
cheating?
going to no, because we're being freaking kept money from us because they want to call it unfair.
We're
And that's
cheating.
that's not just us. That's a
Oh,
lot of
they-
teams in this league that are not getting
the money Roman
sponsors.
got for selling Chelsea's in a frozen account.
That's different. I mean, I guess that is an associated party.
Go donate it to Ukraine like they said they would.
Yeah,
like it's
there's
just
going to
sitting
be
there.
a lot of financial
They're
bullshit
the
is going to
corrupt ones,
change
not
in
us.
the Prem in the next couple years. So
The Prem's the corrupt
like
party.
what
not
we've
the clubs.
seen from these old, at least smaller teams trying to break in, I don't think is going to be the same as it has been the past 10, 20 years. I think there's going to be a lot more leeway for them to
Also,
come
Villa
up.
pretty much mortgaged their entire future on getting promoted and staying up. They were very close to, if they ended up back down, or if they didn't end up getting promoted, I'm sorry, they could have been in a ton of trouble. They were very close to going into administration. So, like, they were this close. If I always see a tweet about it where it's like goal line technology away from them not existing. Nottingham Forest bought 20 players their first season up and already got a price
Like 300 mil, yeah.
right? Newcastle got to take over from Saudi. Totally crazy circumstances. So it has been a lot of things have to go your way to break through. So the fact that we've kind of seen 3 teams in the past almost 5 years do it, pretty unique for sure. And I think to your point too, the financial outlook's probably going to change. So interesting. But I think they're pretty much it. They're pretty much there.
No, they are. I think they get in
I do too.
unless there's some drastic drop off, which I don't see.
Yeah.
I don't
I don't think
anticipate.
they're going
Knock on
to.
wood, he would have to miss a bunch of games.
Yeah,
Hudson, one of their main guys would have to miss time for this something to happen. In my eyes,
I will skip 30 episodes in the future and say that I don't have them making the Champions League spots next year. I just don't.
and I
No,
don't have
no,
them
I
getting
agree.
relegated.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, the thing is the Prem has been. This has been a good overall Prem season for the fact that it's been super hyper competitive and the middle teams have taken a jump up. Now at the top end, we could on a totally different rant about how all the top teams have just been pretty much outside of Liverpool have been piss poor this whole season. Arsenal underperforming, City underperforming. I think Chelsea to a certain extent with the money spent underperforming. Newcastle, this is a somewhat underperforming season. Villa was a Champions League team. I think if you were looking at their league position, you'd consider that underperforming. And then obviously United and Spurs. I mean, it's 7 teams right there that have all underperformed to the standard of a normal Prem season. I do expect that to come back next season to some extent. Now, how drastic that's going to be, I don't know. City, I could guess, would be very much higher on that list, right? They're going to go right back up.
Yeah.
Chelsea are going to spend money. They'll be higher on that list. United will be better because they'll have money and they're United. Same with Spurs. But I'm happy for them. It's a really cool experience, and they will be a really enjoyable watch, just like how Villa is right now in the Champions League. And we probably should cover that at some point, just because I think it'll be cool too.
Definitely will. I'll throw on the Matty Cash jersey.
Well, international break's coming up, so next week we can kind of talk about Champions League quarterfinals of that. So, hell yeah. We go.
I didn't want to take it in a sense of taking away what they've done, because what they've done this season is amazing. Future outlook. I thought it was a cool topic to kind of.
You're a glass half empty guy, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, my team has made me that way.
I mean, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Look at my hat.
I don't know though. Even Villa underperforming, they can easily make it into the top 4.
The season's been pretty volatile in those areas.
Things just have to go your way, and the Premier League a lot has gone the opposite direction for most of these teams. But
everything's become less predictable. So for a team like a Nottingham Forest, the Newcastle, a Villa, now's the time to take advantage of just the amount of variability going on.
The only thing that's been predictable this season has been the relegation teams. And they're all, I mean, outside of Ipswich, Ipswich is all right. They're not very good.
Well, they're on the same.
They have the same points as Leicester.
They have one home win all year.
No. Look, I've enjoyed their performances more. They are a bad team. Sorry,
no.
They are a proper relegation team where, like,
Ipswich
any given game, they can get you some.
There's some exciting players on that Ipswich team. I think Jacob Greaves, Liam Delap. There's Leif Davis, Hutchinson.
Jack
these guys,
decent player.
Exactly. They have players. They picked up a lot of players. They are not enough to compete, even to stay out of relegation. So
feel bad for.
But look at their transfer activity. I feel like
this
that
is
was
a big
part
thing,
of the plan. That was the
plan.
But
this
has
been a constant complaint with the Championship and the Prem, is that these Championship teams and the Prem teams, the gap is becoming much greater.
Because of the financial
it's going to keep becoming like this. These guys are going to come up from relegation. They're going to have a couple guys that are very talented that the whole Prem can see on display for a whole year while they're shit. And then they're going to go down and get poached. Exactly.
Yeah, literally, Philogene was the perfect example. He had a good year at Hull. Villa bought him back because they had FOMO. Had him for half the season. Oh, he's not good enough. They sent him back to Ipswich. He's going to get relegated. He'll probably stay at Ipswich. He'll probably have a really good year. If they don't get promoted next year, a Premier League team will sign him. I think, but Ipswich's transfer window, I mean, they got Hutchinson in very early. Jack Clark came in January, I believe. Delap's there. But I feel like that was kind of their approach where, hey, if we can stay up with these guys, great. If not, they're more than capable to obviously grow, have that experience, and then dominate the championship, come back up. We keep them or we get a fee off of them. So I feel like they've kind of approached it with a sense of sustainability relative to a Forest who said, hey, we're going to bring in Jesse Lingard and 20 other people. We're staying up. Like, they went gung-ho. Ipswich kind of took a safe approach to it. So I think
is it not more profitable to stay up?
Exactly. But that's a huge risk. They're taking...
Of course.
But to your point, the gaps are getting bigger unless something changes financially, unless the rules change. Like, I don't see this amending itself.
It's pretty lucrative, to my understanding, to do the bouncing. Right, just go back and forth and back and forth, and
well, I guess you get
because now Ipswich is going to be way more rich than every other championship team.
So, like, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, this goes for all 3 of the relegation teams, but it's like they got maybe at the most 3 quality Premier League players that you could see playing there next season, and then the rest of the team is top end championship talent, low, very very low Premier League talent. And they're going to go into the next season with top-end championship talent, and they're just going to keep doing the bouncing. That's what Burnley's doing.
About 5. Connor Cody, like, that's that low-level Prem, high-end championship-level player.
I think teams like Burnley, I think there's a little more
because they're just a cool story as well. They're
Burnley showed it perfectly. Company brings them up with brilliant football. They get relegated
I
with it.
think
Now they
that's the
look
thing, though.
fantastic
I
again.
think a lot of people complain, and Burnley fans complain, that Company was just playing his football, not really trying to win games. More of like
Russell
a
Martin to
tryout,
Southampton.
tryout
People said the
for,
same
yeah,
thing.
exactly. They're doing tryouts for other teams to show that they
Yeah.
can play this footy rather than trying to get results for the team they're at.
But even if I'm looking at Southampton and I Rude at Leicester, like those dudes, they aren't competing. Like they're like, to be fair to Rude, like I don't even know what else.
We
Like
made it
even with
close.
Southampton, I don't even know what you do with those teams. They're so awful.
Build
You
around. No.
you just hope and pray. Let's talk
We made
Leicester
Leicester. Yeah, we made
and
them look.
Chelsea.
Made them look decent.
Leicester can give you a good. We talked about this. Leicester can give you a good fight if you let them.
Yeah, and we definitely did. Our fans were really upset from what I was seeing on Twitter. I actually thought that first half was a lot better than what we've seen lately, which again is the bar's not high. What, 2 in our last 10 before we beat Southampton? Like the bar is not high, but there were lots of chances created relative to what we've been seeing. I thought it looked better. And then I get on Twitter, and I mean, obviously the fans are booing 15 minutes in. We probably have one of the worst home atmospheres I've ever seen. Like our own fans are booing 15 minutes in, it's 0-0. And then every time we do boot the ball forward, we lose it because Pedro Neto's up top. And I think Pedro, he put his body on the line for 90 minutes. He ran his ass off. I loved it for 90 minutes. But what are you going to boot it up to him? He's not going to win headers. So our fans, I just don't know the match-going fans what they really want. They were chanting, "We've got our Chelsea back" in December, and now they want Mourinho, and Maresca's not good enough, and
Jesus.
I think a lot of the toxicity is self-inflicted. I made a Plaxico Burress reference last week, and I'm going to have to do it again because I feel like that's what it is. A lot of the negative noise about Chelsea comes from Chelsea fans. It's very disappointing. Where we're at in the season, 28 games? We've got 10 left. We haven't been in the Champions League in 2 years. We got 3 points, man. Stop complaining. We needed 3 points in these last 2 games. We needed to beat 20th place and 19th place at home. We did. So stop fucking complaining. Lace them up for Thursday. Please win that competition. Like, just do your jobs. And then we got Arsenal before the international break, who are depleted. I'm sure they've got nothing mentally. Like, they're drained. PSV, I mean, they're already advanced, so they're probably going to play the kids. They'll be fully rested for us, but they'll be up for it. But we need to be up for it. They don't have anything to play for. They're already in the Champions League next year. They're not winning the title. We need to show up because it was, again, I'm praising the performance to some extent, but it still wasn't all there. Palmer is absolutely not on it right now. Apparently he was sick and had diarrhea the 2 days before and didn't train. But regardless of all that, it's been a long enough stretch. I mean, even not just the missed chances, but there were multiple times in that game where he gave the ball away and they immediately had a counter from it. He's not on his game right now, and that's okay. We need to pick up the slack for him. I think Caicedo was brilliant again. 1 yellow away from a 2-game suspension. Cucurella, unbelievable, does everything. Enzo Fernandez turning into a real leader in this group, which is something that we've been desperate for. We've talked about it all year. We've needed leaders to come from this group of players. He's looking to be one of them, along with Caicedo for me. Reece James has an illness. He played 12 games in a row, or was available for 12 games in a row, so hopefully it actually is an illness. Yeah, the attack's the attack right now. I love that it's not being led by Nkunku. The press being led by Neto absolutely changes things. We can actually push up the field. But we're still pretty fragile on counters. We still get opened up. Enzo's pressing really high against Leicester. Fofana, I haven't mentioned Fofana yet, but yeah, we really did miss him. Just seeing him back, I mean, multiple times he took the ball and just drove it 30 yards and found a pass. So along with Enzo, very forward-thinking player, even though he's a center back. Love to see him stay fit till the end of the year. He adds so much to our defense. Sanchez came back into the team and almost gave them a goal. Did you guys see that one? The cross that he...
Yeah,
I didn't get to see it again.
He did
Mila-
his
Mila,
Superman punch that he just missed.
There was a cross pretty much at the penalty spot with 1 Leicester player and 2 center halves there, so he decided to jump out, Superman punch, missed it, which threw off Tosin, who then just didn't move. It hits Tosin's head off the crossbar. And then Colwell happened to be right place, right time, was aware enough. And again, I've been on him lately, so I'm glad he was on his toes, cleared the danger. But just because he's bald doesn't mean he's a different man. He can't fool me. I'm very disappointed to see him play. But I'd like to think he rotated Jorgensen against Southampton earlier in the year, so maybe he wanted to get Sanchez a game. Sanchez also played in Europe midweek.
Why? It
pisses me off, man, because Sanchez. To your point, Arsenal needed a striker for 3 years. I think anyone who has watched Robert Sanchez play a full 90 once can understand he's not good enough. He's awful.
Don't get it.
He's absolutely awful. Kepa reminded us how awful he was this weekend. But, man, because one of my buddies is a Bournemouth fan, and he's like, man, Kepa might be worse than Sanchez. And I just said, two cheeks of the same ass, brother. Like,
they are.
Let's enjoy them both, man. Like what Rio said, they are both so horrible, but the fact that I've had to experience both of them. Robert Sanchez took the number one off Kepa. Like, just unbelievable how atrocious the lot of them are.
I can't begin to understand it because Jorgensen's played well in his minutes.
Other than the Villa howler.
Yeah, but I mean, whatever. Sanchez has got 50 more of them. Just play him.
Track record. Yeah,
play him. Look, if you guys had dropped points because of that, it's on the manager. We already know that the other guy's better. He just does a better job in that.
And I don't think Jorgensen's the next coming of Petr.
No.
But I think most keepers are better than Sanchez. And again, the one we loaned out instead of Sanchez, the guy who took Sanchez's job last year. I think the best thing Pochettino did at the club, dropping Robert Sanchez. And we brought him back in.
It's crazy.
We brought him right back in. Mind you, Petrovic apparently is real good with the feet now, but the guy we have on loan is better than him. What are we doing, man? The 18-year-old Belgian kid that we bought and then sent out on loan, he's probably better than Sanchez too. Oh man, it's tough. But business trip done, right? We got the points.
You got the points.
The 6 points from the two shitters. Now we got to lock in. We've got 10 cup finals. Am I right?
We talked about it. We talked about it. 9 points had to. Well, it even extended into 12, but 4 straight wins had to be got here.
Yeah,
you need to see good necessarily good performances, but you needed to see good results for 4 straight games based off of what was happening prior. That has happened.
Yeah,
you now go into probably the toughest part of your schedule, the season, where you have to get results against a bunch of big sides, and Arsenal is the ones that it starts with.
So Spurs after the international break.
I don't have anything to talk about this match.
Yeah, we don't need to preview that weak-ass game. There's going to be no strikers playing. Saka's not.
No. I do want to preview the game. I just don't want to touch Leicester.
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, yeah. It's the business end of the season. Simple as. We've gotten our results, and I still think it's not done with Copenhagen. It's only a 1-goal game or a 1-goal tie because we can't keep clean sheets, but we kept a clean sheet against Leicester. I don't care if it's Leicester. We can't keep clean sheets for obvious reasons. We've got a few bozos in the back, and we've got Senor King Bozo in the middle between the sticks, but kept a clean sheet. I was shocked. I was very certain there would be a second goal scored. Clean sheet, we take them. I got nothing else on that game, so we want to talk about what? Arsenal-Chelsea?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Arsenal and their tactics. Nothing's going to change for them because they don't have anything to change it with. Right. They just need to be more clinical, and they need to actually take their chances. They're obviously, they are going to try to control the ball. They probably will.
Yeah.
That's just what they do. That's just their play style.
Hope we don't show up and play like we did at the Etihad, where we just don't press and have a high line. I hope we don't.
Definitely should never do that ever again.
One more
you
thing
have to play off the back foot.
I forgot to mention it, and I won't talk about the game after, but my only copium, apparently, we were preparing for Leicester to have a back 4 the whole week, and then they had a back 5, so that's why we were really bad, apparently. That's what the manager said. We approached the press with a back 4 and a back 5. Forgot to mention that, but now that I mention it, it doesn't fucking matter that much because I missed my window. Chelsea, Arsenal, I think with Neto up front, you can actually press properly. Fofana back as well helps you do that. You have recovery pace there because Colwell's a young center back. He's not fast. People think he's like a pacey center back. It's not at all. Fofana has that recovery pace. as does Cucurella. Hopefully Reece James is fit, plays this game.
I was going to say,
I think it comes down to the midfield. Because their
what
midfield
is the midfield?
For them, it's been Partey, Rice, Odegaard, Marino.
It will continue to be that.
Right. And it's a strong midfield. It's a physical midfield. So I think obviously you have Enzo Caicedo. Lavia was on the bench. Don't fucking play him, please.
He won't play.
The 5 games a year I'm getting from him, like, he's top. He is so good. But I haven't seen him play a consistent run of games, so take his matter of fact, I wouldn't even be mad if he didn't play the rest of the year. Get that guy fit. But it's definitely Enzo Caicedo. The question is kind of who's coming next to Caicedo. Pause. It might be Cucurella, Reece James. He looked really good in midfield. He's been playing as an 8, not even inverting, and he's looked pretty good. I mean, he's a very, very good player, so he's kind of getting his feet wet. For a player that hasn't played midfield very much, though, his career, to kind of throw him there at the Emirates top 4 battle, I don't know, but he's quality. He's our captain. Yeah, I think it comes down to that, and then obviously Palmer, if we can get a moment of brilliance from him. It's been a while, but we all know what he's capable of if he's on his game. Hopefully the diarrhea goes away, the underwear stay clean, and the back of the net is hit.
This is a tactical. I don't want to say
disaster
nightmare.
Class. Disaster class.
There's a lot of watch, dude. It's going to be a very tough watch.
We know exactly what Arsenal's doing, so I don't expect anything to change for them. But I keep trying to figure out how this Chelsea team's going to line up because Reece James is your captain. He's been playing 90-minute games. He played in Conference League. He's played in Europe. He's been playing 90-minute games. He's going to play in this game, and he will start. So the chances that you're going to be trotting out the right side of Fofana and Reece James, who have not been healthy customers.
FC.
It's fine. It's fine.
The Derby.
Is it?
What? Yeah, it's
Fofana
fine. Who are they playing at
back.
left wing?
Martinelli.
I'm not scared.
No, but this is I'm not scared of it either. They actually just Arsenal got a attacker back. They looked better with Martinelli on the field.
I watched him
on the right.
miss right in front of the goal, Dylan.
No, I'm not saying
that
he's going to score goals. I'm just saying he's an option.
I think
it's not
Reece
Sterling.
can let him run in behind. Reece can sit down on the fucking ground and let him run in behind, and it will be okay.
Bro, Reece went band for band with Vinicius over 2 legs back in the day. Like we know what he's about. It's a.
I'm saying back in the day about a 24-year-old.
Back in the day.
He's 25.
Sorry.
This is when our homies say they're washed. I'm like, you're 25 years old.
That's
friend.
me.
It's literally us. Yeah.
You guys need to get your bodies right.
I'm working on it. Anyways, though, I think it's a question mark for sure. But Fofana played right back. He played 70 minutes. And then they brought on Chalobah instead of a Chempong, which, I mean, I love Trev, but it's starting to... that recall is just starting to look dumb and dumber. I think a Chempong, obviously he's part of our plans for the future. He's thought of very highly internally. Bayern tried to come get him. That should tell you something about the player, but we're blocking his path with Chalobah, who we just said, hey, you're not even going to get your number back because we gave it to a guy we bought this summer who's now at AC Milan, but we're also going to sell you again this summer. You're just here because we got a lot of injuries. Why is he playing? Why are we doing that? It's just unfair to the guy. Trev loves the club. You shouldn't be doing this to the guy. And then to a Chempong who's probably deserving of those minutes. He started at center back in the Prem earlier this season. So that's kind of frustrating, but kind of sidetracked there. Fofana looked really strong. He really was running hard, like I said, probably 4 or 5 times, just driving the ball. He looks fit. He's also gotten injured multiple times over the course of his young career. So hard to really say. I see your concerns, Dylan. That's why we're resting Labby.
We have
Caicedo to 2 foot one of them.
I can tell you, I know who's going to play. I know that Colwell and Cucurella and Enzo and Caicedo and Palmer and Neto are going to play. I can't tell you the rest of the team.
Sancho's our only fit winger. I'm sure he plays. And Nkunku, I'd rather have George play. And Nkunku's been playing left wing. He's just there, dude.
I'm telling you, I would much rather have Nkunku play than Sancho in a game where you're not going to hold the ball.
I'd much rather have George on a wing.
Yes.
Over, to be honest.
That was actually my next question is, do you want to see George start?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We need one Saka in the building.
Yeah, evil
No,
Saka takes
all
that.
seriousness, he's definitely been eased into the team this year. He's got Conference League's been huge for that to just give guys minutes. And then with the injuries we've had in forward positions, he's been able to get an opportunity. He's gotten a few assists. I don't think he's put a goal away yet, but he's shown a lot of promise and confidence from day one, willing to do what he wants to do on the ball, showing his flair, his personality, as the manager would say. But I've liked what I've seen from him in these cameos. He's even gone up top, given, again, our injury situation. He's kind of just throwing anyone up top to see how it looks. So I'd be more than happy to see him start. Sancho was solid last game, and I think get between him and Nkunku, who, again, are the only two winger options because Neto's up top, I'd probably go with Sancho and George, some variation on either side. Neto's up top, Palmer's behind them, Enzo Caicedo. That's how I would like to see it. I don't think he starts him. I think he plays it safe, goes with the same lineup. But I'd like to see changes quickly if it's not working.
Yeah, this...
And Jorgensen, please.
Like Sancho had his best game against Leicester. I think that for Chelsea to win this match, they got to take a page out of United's textbook and just play off the back foot and let Rice and Odegaard control the ball, and Partey for that matter, and just say, we're going to say that your attackers aren't going to beat us. We'll play a low block and we'll beat you on the counter. And I'd much rather see Nkunku and George and Neto on the counter with Palmer, and hope that you can just be more clinical with less chances.
Given that it's an away game, I
Sancho on the counter might be...
I don't want to park the bus, okay? Like,
no, you won't.
I want to make that clear. Right. But again, look at how we approached City. I'd say that was our last big away game against a big team. We tried to just go out there, hey, this is how we play, we're going to do it. It's naive. And I respect it. I respect him. Hey, these are our principles, this is how we want to play, but it is naive. You have to understand and take in context into situations, and especially given the personnel. Ooh, Pedro Neto running into space. Like, I like that. And then you look at the other side. Oh, it's Mikel Merino up top? Trossard, okay, worried about Trossard and
they've got no speed up top. Like I do think you guys can afford to press a little more on against this team than you did against the City side, with has wingers with some speed, Holland with some speed, Mikel Merino running in behind your center backs, your young center backs.
Fofana's
I wouldn't be too worried about it, honestly. Like, I'm not.
Fofana's fit. I also think they are to be had in those transitions with Partey. I think Partey's still in possession. He's still a solid player, but where you're starting to see his age is out of possession. He definitely isn't able to cover the amount of ground that he would. That's why you have workhorses like Odegaard and Rice next to him. But there's another place they can be had, and the form Caicedo's in are really just a player Caicedo is. I'd love to see him put in a shift. I mean, again, it was Leicester, but just another magisterial performance from Caicedo. And Enzo, again, the form he's been in, I'm really liking what I'm seeing there. If Lavia's fit, he can give you 20 minutes off the bench. That's where the game is decided for me, and we got to show up.
It's going to be decided in the midfield.
Yeah, I was going to say
that. I think you guys, I think you have to meet them halfway, though, because if you guys sit back, I know you don't want to. If you do, though, they're going to win 1-0 off a fucking set piece.
Yeah, we're terrible at defending them. We're fucking terrible.
If you guys allow them...
Okay, we have to stop that agenda now, because they haven't scored off a set piece since they broke the record.
But we're bad at defending them.
They're bad at defending them, and if they sit back the entire game and hold the ball, they're going to have plenty of chances, though.
Leicester
but you guys weren't giving them a bunch of set pieces.
We leave two people in the back post and give away 3 dumb free kicks in our own half in the second half every game, and we don't defend the back post. So those set piece chances against us are still very dangerous.
Yeah, I don't.
And Robert Sanchez is in goal. He's going to see a cross and just start running at it.
I think it's too dangerous to give them those.
No, look, I think
it's too dangerous to be kept alive.
It's going to be Jorgensen in that, I still think. I hope, for your sake. I think, Mila, you're right, though, about the midfield. It's going to be won and lost between Palmer and Enzo for me, and Rice and Odegaard. I think you know what you're getting from Caicedo and Partey at this point to, you're going to get a base 7 kind of feel. But there's going to be chances. Arsenal conceded chances to United, and it fell to Bruno.
You guys could win that game if Rice wasn't defensively on point.
And
Yeah.
Rye,
He was making ridiculous. Yeah, of course,
really
Rice
good.
saves, but Rice was making some last-ditch tackles. I
Yeah,
know
tackle
Portland should have
on
put
that.
that
He was
shot
good.
on, like a shot out, but the fucking tackle from Rice to come from behind and cut it out like that, in a phenomenal tackle. He was definitely having a fucking worldie of day. So
Yeah, chances will fall.
that has to happen again.
Average Caicedo performance.
Chances will fall. The question
Maybe.
is Palmer going to lace up his boots this week? Which he feels like a big game player in the sense of like I feel like he can get up for this one after being so poor. I think that if there was
Have I
any,
made the De Bruyne point on the pod, or was that just in person to other people?
Which one?
I think Palmer gives me a lot of KDB vibes when it comes to the point where when he's frustrated, he'll do a lot to just try to get something going.
Yes, absolutely.
And it hinders their game because of it. And
When
that's a mental thing that I don't think is ever going to go away with any of them. KDB's at the end of his career. Palmer, this is probably just going to be something that happens throughout his career, where he feels the pressure and the need to take the team on his back. And because of that, he does rash things that might not actually be for the good of the team in those situations, just because of how much is going on in his head.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. And I think he's always been like that, to your point.
I think it's these quiet guys.
Facundo's been in my ear about that since the last year, where he was mentioning, like, when your team starts to struggle, like, you'll see him just kind of do too much. But mind you, sometimes he pulls it off, especially last year. Of course.
No, these are very talented players, and they have that in their bag, but you don't want them to you don't want to oversaturate it, because then the overall quality goes down.
It's not coming off, and he's clearly forcing it.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, most of the time, I would want him to force the issue. He's that good of a player, and I trust him to do that over anyone else on the field. But, yeah, where it's at right now, it's not clicking, and, yeah, to your point, he's trying to do a bit too much given the form he's in, and it's starting to be a hindrance whether he means it or not. I'm sure it's no intent to hurt the team, but...
No, of course.
Like, these guys are that over what Odegaard does.
Yeah.
Right?
No, of course, but, like...
It is detrimental. I don't disagree. This is a very Bruno-like conversation. The player that if you were to take away all of what
these guys,
the difference is Bruno plays in a more defensive setting. He does both.
Yeah,
right? Palmer
Bruno
doesn't
also
give you as much of that defensive captaincy work rate,
especially now.
Right. But like the player that you're describing, this is like an Odegaard versus. In this context of the game,
I know what you mean.
That's what we're talking about. But to your point. It could be. This could be the downfall of Chelsea's game against.
There's a balance
against Arsenal.
There's a fine line where yes, you want to force the issue. If you're the best player, like we talked about with basketball, you need to take 25 shots. But there comes a time where hey, maybe you should make the open pass, right? Make the extra play. So there's a balance to it.
Or just slow it down a little bit, Like breathe.
He does feel very rushed.
It feels with him and KDB.
Anytime you pass backwards.
Of course, but with them too, it just feels like they have this pressure on their shoulder, the weight on their shoulders, and they seem to think that they need to pile on more weight by taking more onto their shoulders, and that it hinders them. And I think obviously it's part because some guys are out.
He even missed a penalty.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
But no, he did that out of respect for Yaya.
Yaya is inevitable.
I did have a bad feeling about it, and then he actually missed. I was like, oh, he actually missed a pen, bro. I'm dead. I probably even shouldn't say that. I've been playing FIFA. I played FIFA once and I missed a pen with him. I reset the game, bro. I was like, oh, he doesn't miss pens. He doesn't miss pens, bro. It's unrealistic.
I didn't even see the pen miss. I didn't want to believe it. I just assumed it was a glitch.
Pen. It wasn't a terrible pen. I mean, he hit it hard and low, but not all the way in the corner. But good save. Keeper was on it. But yeah, I mean, never seen him miss a pen. But he still has a smile.
It's a good summary of what his performance is.
Madueke blocked his goal when we went to Leicester. I don't know if you guys remember that. Like, Madueke literally blocked it on accident. He's smiling. Like, he's not worried about it. Like, when Haaland missed his very first City game, Community Shield, he skied the shit out of one. He's just laughing. He's like, oh, yeah. I'll get that back.
Darwin Núñez was crying when they won the Community Shield.
That dude's funny as well. But yeah, Haaland knows, like, oh, I'm gonna get that again. I'm gonna put it away. Palmer knows I'm gonna get another penalty one day. I'm gonna put it away. So I'm not worried about him. But yeah, I'd love to see him turn it around on Sunday.
Yeah. Okay. Well, with the thought of it being on Sunday, let's do a quick prediction. Give your scoreline and just a basic reason why. And then we'll get out of here. So, Grant, what is your prediction for Chelsea versus Arsenal?
1-0. Chelsea, of course.
Nice.
We don't get this a lot
Fernandez.
on here for
Enzo
predictions,
Fernandez goal.
but 0-0
That was my
stinker
last week.
fest.
That's what I called last week, so that's probably.
Wait, yeah, I was gonna say.
I can't speak a 0-0 into existence. I can't do it, but.
This gives me very similar vibes. I just don't see where the goals are coming for this Chelsea side. I haven't seen enough over the last few weeks to tell me that they're going to score, and I think Arsenal are going to get some scammy, crappy, looking for it penalty, and they're going to win 1-0. I don't want that to happen. I'd much rather for the race of the top four for it to be a Chelsea win. I just know what's going to happen. There are a bunch of whiny, complaining brats who don't care about winning, and they're
pen away?
It'll be a handball that shouldn't be a handball. Like, Jorgensen's.
Jorgensen handball.
Yeah. It'll end
a
up being
pass back pickup, an indirect free kick in the box.
It'll be something stupid like Palmer's blocking and his hand is here.
Yeah.
And then it'll hit it. Yeah. So 1-0. Cool. We good to end it there?
No, because Cucurella, he's a goal threat.
To be fair, he might be decent on the counter.
Yeah, no, give me an Enzo goal.
Give you
0-0, man. 0-0.
Yeah, probably.
1-0, 0-0, 1-0.
And you know what I'll do at the end of that 0-0, Mila? Yes!
Yeah!
Well done, Chelsea!
Honestly, bro, don't lose, and I don't give a fuck, bro.
That is such a goated clip, and I think it's the perfect thing to end this hour and 25-minute episode on. Well done, Clash of Clubs, episode 32.
Yes!
Thank you guys for listening, and we will see you guys in the next one.
2 words for him. Different gravy. Glorious goal! Wreathed in red. We're really seeing the most extraordinary finish here. On this day of days, has he delivered? Just magnificent! Potentially life-changing! That's football. Minute you let it under your skin, then you begin to make it better.